Podcast One presents The Lady Gang, the Hollywood girl posse, with LadyGang Quickie. Here's Kelty Knight, Becca Tobin, and Jack Vanek.
Let's make this quick.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to LadyGang Quickie. I'm Becca here with Jack and Kelty, and back by popular demand, but also because we knew she was too wise to only have one Quickie.
Yeah.
Jess is back.
Jess Suchan is here. Body Bliss by Jess, at Body Bliss by Jess. So last week we talked a lot about the mindset behind, health, wellness. And so if you haven't listened to that episode, stop, go listen to that so you can learn all about Jess and everything she, her mindset and where we're coming from. And today is going to be really tip heavy. Let's get into it. So the first thing I wanted to ask is you are famous for your sexy swaps. So I think this is really good, and I love that it's sexy, but I think it's a really quick, easy way of just swapping things out so that you regulate everything. And it's not a you must, it's just a, hey, think about this next time you swap. So talk about sexy swaps, Jess.
Yeah, sexy swaps are my favorite thing, and everything. I have a theme going on with sexy. I have a formula that helps you build a hormone balancing meal called the Sexy Six. I've got my sexy swaps. I did a sexy sugar cleanse back in the day, and it's because I really feel like we want to make these things sexy and attractive. And a lot of times when we're trying to make lifestyle changes or dietary changes, we'll hear these suggestions, or at least I did back in the day when I was trying to make changes, where it's like, oh, you're trying to, give up your coffee, just drink herbal tea. And it's like, no, I don't want to give up my Starbucks coffee for an herbal tea. That is like my fancy latte. That does not sound good.
Sad swaps.
Right? Sad swaps. Or like, oh, you don't want tortilla chips? Just take a watermelon radish and dip that in salsa, or like a cucumber. And I hear that stuff all the time. And to me, that's just not, you're never going to be able to stick.
No, it's not the fucking same.
No, and you're not going to stick to it. It's not sustainable. And so sexy swaps are really meant to be healthier. And I say healthier, not perfect, healthier alternatives to the food and drinks that we crave the most that don't necessarily make us feel our best. So if you want to give me some swaps, some ideas, I can give you some swaps.
The tortilla chip, what is that swap?
Yeah, so there's a few ideas here. So let's say you just want to grab a bag at the store. Siete Foods is great. They make a cassava chip tortilla, so it's a root, and they use avocado oil. If you look at a lot of the tortilla chips on the market, they use sunflower oil, safflower oil, canola oil, which are all really inflammatory oils. So the fact that they use avocado oil, I love that. They also have kettle chips now, which I think are even more delicious. They have like a sea salt kettle chip and a couple other ones, but they have a bunch of different flavors. Those are my go-tos for tortilla chips. They're also corn-free. A lot of people have issues with corn, especially for the skin, but also because 90% of corn in the US is GMO, so not great. But if you have a little bit more time, honestly, I'm the laziest person ever when it comes to cooking and making anything. So everything's 20 minutes or less. So I take, you guys know the brand Ezekiel. They have the bread.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I don't love their bread. I know a lot of people who do. For me, it's just, I don't know. I don't really like it that much, but they're Ezekiel tortillas. You can get them at Trader Joe's. They're a complete protein for vegans, which is amazing. They're very high fiber. And so they're high protein, high fiber. So you take them, and I just cut them with like a knife, or you could use like a pizza cutter, into pie slice shapes, like tortilla chip slice shapes, and then put it on a baking pan. Spray it with your avocado or coconut oil. I like to use Creole seasoning on top. But you could do like a bunch of salt and pepper, whatever, like taco type seasonings you like. Bake it at 350 for 10 minutes. Pull it out, flip it, move it around, bake it for 3 to 5 more minutes. And you have like the crispiest, easiest tortilla chips, and then dip it in salsa and guacamole. They're so good. I've been making them, and you can have them on the side of like a Mexican bowl or just as a snack. So there's one there.
What about, I think I know the answer to this one, but I'm going to give you two. Okay. French fries, my two favorite foods, French fries and a chocolate chip cookie.
Okay. French fries, that one, I'm still on the hunt for like a frozen food French fry brand that I think is awesome. Strong Roots. They have cauliflower hash browns, and then they also have these roasted root vegetable fries, and they're awesome. I have a lot of clients who love them, and those are frozen, so you can make those really quick. But French fries are the easiest thing to make yourself. If you have an air fryer, which I love, but you could also do it in the oven, just take sweet potatoes or take an organic potato, cut it into thin slices, bake it in the oven. I don't know how long, but you can look it up online, 400 for like 20 minutes. In the air fryer, it's way faster. And then, yeah, just put your oil on there. I like to use coconut or avocado oil because it's better at high heat. And then just put a bunch of seasonings on there. And then I love to get the Primal Kitchen because it's zero sugar, great ingredients. Their ketchup and their ranch. I also love their buffalo ranch. I'm a big sauce girl, so I'll make an aioli. They also have aioli. So French fries, aioli, ketchup, really, really easy. I make it all the time. And then chocolate chip cookie. So Partake is a brand that's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's like the best one out there, but for a quick grab and go, my favorite is Simple Mills. They have ready-made chocolate chip cookies. They're crunchy and you can easily take those with you. That brand has like amazing crackers too and a whole line of awesome products. They have like make your own pizza crust. So that's what I do with chocolate chip cookies. I also have
different in that than like a regular chocolate chip cookie.
So they always use ingredients like almond flour, and they use, less inflammatory oils and just whole food ingredients versus like a regular cookie, which is going to have dairy. It's going to have, cheaper grains. You're going to get a lot of sugar in there. The chocolate chips that are used in there are going to have like high fructose corn syrup most of the time. So just simple swaps in the ingredients. And with Simple Mills, that's their whole thing. It's like usually like 5 or 6 ingredients and all things that you can pronounce, and it tastes really good. And then I love to make chocolate chip cookies. And what I do is I just look at the ingredients and I swap out. If it's a dairy milk, I use a non-dairy milk. If it's a butter, I'll use grass-fed butter. If it's chocolate chips, I use Lakanto, which are monk fruit chocolate chips. They're so good. Or Lily's chocolate chips, which do have a little bit of dairy, but they're sugar-free and they're amazing. They have all different flavors too. And then for the sugar, I'll use Lakanto monk fruit. So like you can make little swaps when you're baking too. So you're following the same recipe, but you're just making those little swaps that bring back the dairy and bring back the sugar, but then it still tastes awesome.
That sounds so good.
Love a sexy swap. All right. I'm going into me. I'm starting with my question, and then you guys can figure out what you want to ask, but I have a whole list from the LadyGang too. So my big thing, and I know it has to do with sugar and insulin and all of that, but, I've gotten in a cycle of not wanting to eat because when I eat, I feel worse. So I know I'm eating the wrong stuff, but and this was a question that the LadyGang brought up. They said, I'm constantly bloated from food and drinks and even water. What do I do? For me, it's like if I eat something and then I need to lay down. Like it goes to my head and I get dizzy and lose my energy. And like, I know it's blood sugar, but what's going on with that? Like what is going on with you eat and then you feel worse?
Yeah. So I think that a lot of times, it's going to be different for every person. It could also depend on where you're at in your cycle, to be honest. And we can talk about that because that makes a huge difference in your cravings and how many calories you need and how you're processing food. But my biggest thing is helping women learn how to balance their blood sugar levels with a simple formula. So like I said, I have my Sexy 6 formula, and it's 6 things that I recommend that you include at every meal.
Okay. What are they? Tell us the Sexy 6.
Yes. So, and I meant to say I have a sexy swaps and recipe guide too. So if you guys want all the swaps, that's there for you. Okay. So the Sexy 6 is protein. It's going to be powerful protein. And as an aside, most women I work with are unintentionally under eating protein. Protein gives you the amino acids that you need to support your liver and your thyroid and certain hormones. If you're not eating enough protein, you're going to feel bad, to be honest. Like you're not going to have great energy levels. You're not going to be, if you're trying to lose weight and you're under eating protein, you're going to lose muscle and fat, which is not what we want. We want to be losing primarily fat, and that slows down your metabolism when you're not eating enough protein. Also, if you're working out and you're not eating enough protein, you're never going to build muscle. And so imperative, also the liver needs protein to detoxify excess estrogen. So just by increasing your protein, you can feel a lot better after meals. I tell women to aim for between 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, which is going to be a lot for some women. I see a lot of people eating like 70 or 80 grams of protein. So that needs to just be gradually increased. I wouldn't say go 0 to 60, but just be mindful of where you're at and try to gradually increase. Protein types matter. So when you can go grass-fed meat, wild caught fish, that's always going to be beneficial for your hormones. So a serving of protein, again, your needs are going to be different based on your goals, how much activity you get in, your age. You need more protein as you get older. The second is anti-inflammatory fat. That's going to be about 2 to 4 servings. Again, you're going to want to play around with that. Fat is cholesterol. Cholesterol is the backbone of all hormone production. If you're not eating enough fat, you're not producing enough hormones. You're going to feel brain fog. You're going to not be able to come up with the words that you're looking for. You're going to feel just out of it, horrible, not great. It also helps you to burn fat. Your brain is made up of mostly fat, so it makes sense that you feel like you have a bunch of air in your head. You're a literal airhead if you don't eat enough fat. So fat is important. Again, anti-inflammatory, avocados, nuts, seeds, grass-fed butter, extra virgin olive oil, whenever you can prioritize that, those omega-3 fatty acids. And then we have whole food fiber. So we want to get that in the form of whole food as much as possible. So that's just going to be things like vegetables, beans, legumes, whole grains. Avocado is awesome because it gives you your fat and your fiber. There's like 8 grams of fiber for half an avocado.
I just want to jump in and tell you, avocado's not awesome. Yes, it's awesome for Jess, but avocado's such a fucking bitch.
Why?
Avocados, because you get them at the store and they're rock hard and then they soften and then they go rotten so fast.
You're right.
Avocados are the dicks of earth. I know they are
They're
delicious.
very finicky.
They're so good for you, but like avocado. But like, yes, also I will be eating more avocado. Okay, continue.
Well, get it harder. So, it takes a couple days and then let it soften. Yeah, I know. It's a whole thing, but you could also get guacamole, which also tends to go browns. But so, yeah, I get that. You just gotta get to it as soon as you can.
Yeah.
But, so then we have, the fiber, avocado counts for that. Fiber goals, we want to hit about 35 grams minimum per day for women. So just keep in mind, half a cup of raspberries is 8 grams. Half an avocado is 8 grams. You're almost halfway for the day when you do that. Fiber, like I said, it's going to sweep excess estrogen, get you more regular. If you're constipated, you need more fiber. If you're still constipated, maybe you went 0 to 60. You want to go slow. You want to play around with the fiber that works for you, and you want to be making sure to drink enough water. And then we've got nutrient-rich carbohydrates, which is most people's favorite. And that's going to be about 1 to 2 servings per meal. Obviously, I already listed some of those examples for carbs. And we talked about why they're important. And then we want to do fruit and vegetable rainbow. And for this category, the 5th category, low glycemic, so lower sugar. So things like peppers, artichokes, which again is super high in fiber, onions, mushrooms, leafy greens, add as many greens as you can. Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, kale, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, bok choy, things like that, contain a compound called DIM, which helps to sweep excess estrogen and can be really supportive for people with acne. So eating cruciferous vegetables, super, super beneficial. And then low glycemic fruits are basically just going to be like berries and green apples. And then lastly are bliss boosts, and those are going to increase the nutrient profile and give you more flavor. So things like fresh herbs and seasonings, salsa, hot sauce, sauerkraut for the gut, my latte blend. So things like cacao powder, turmeric, stuff like that. It's going to add more flavor, but you're automatically going to be getting vitamins and minerals that are going to support your hormones and your energy levels. So if you can get used to that formula, I have a formula. It's free. If you just go to the link in my bio, you can download the formula. It'll give you suggested portion sizes and how to pair it. So it becomes almost just like a checklist. When you're making breakfast, you're like, do I have my carb? Boom, got it. Fiber, boom, got it. Like fat, just check it off. You don't have to track calories or count macros if that's not your thing. Like it's literally just how you're combining the food. And 9 out of 10 times people report back to me after doing that they feel so much better, more energized, less brain fog, more satisfied, less cravings, better periods, better PMS. Like it truly is the way that we combine our foods and how we balance blood sugar that makes all the difference in the world.
Damn.
Boom.
Boom. This episode of Lady Gang is brought to you by Next Evo. Next Evo's Stress CBD Complex gummies are clinically proven to have 4 times better absorption than standard CBD. No other CBD brand can promise that. And we know this because we tested them out. And Becca texted me and she was like, holy crap, I slept so good last night. It really, and I mean this in the most positive way, knocked me out. And that's what I want from a sleep CBD. I want to go to sleep. Please. Next Evo's Smart Sorb technology delivers CBD to your system in as little as 10 minutes. Regular CBD only achieves 2 to 10% absorption, so over 90% of what you actually think you're getting goes to waste. But this brand has so much better of absorption, and it's clinically proven to reduce stress by 70%. Get Smarter CBD from Next Evo Naturals and get up to 25% off subscription orders of $40 or more at nextevo.com/podcast. Promo code LADY. That's NextEvo, NEXTEVO.com/podcast. Promo code LADY.
The Lady Gang.
I also think the one thing, I mean, we could talk to you all day, that I do want to talk about a little bit is eating for your cycle.
Yes.
You touched on this, and I think it's really interesting. And we've really been into this woman code and all of our phases, and like we're really getting into it. So can you discuss some of that?
Yes. Okay. So there's 4 phases of the menstrual cycle. That would be like a whole podcast episode to get into it. But we have our menstrual phase, which is when we bleed. We have the follicular phase that follows the menstrual phase, which is typically about 7 to 10 days long. Then we have the ovulatory phase, which, by the way, ladies, is the only time of the month we can actually get pregnant. No, you can't get pregnant just by looking at a guy or like having sex on a random day. There's only up to 6 days a month where you can actually get pregnant. And that's because sperm can survive inside of you for up to 5 days. And then there's the 1 day of ovulation. So that's the ovulatory phase. And then after that is the luteal phase, which I like to break into early luteal phase and late luteal phase. The late luteal phase is known as the PMS week, and that's the longest phase, about 10 to 14 days. So when it comes to eating with your cycle, your menstrual cycle, menstruation, bleeding, super, super healthy. We obviously want to be doing that every single month. If you're not bleeding, if you're having irregular missing cycles, that's a hormonal imbalance that we need to address because that's impacting your fertility, which is extremely important for overall health, even if you're not trying to get pregnant. But it is a natural state of inflammation. So you want to support that time with a lot of anti-inflammatory foods. So this is the time to really focus on protein, really focus on the extra virgin olive oil, the omega-3 fatty acids, so like wild caught fish. If you're not getting in a lot of wild caught or fatty fish, definitely having an omega-3 supplement. Most women need it. If you're vegan, you can do an algae oil supplement, which is equally as awesome. And then we lose zinc and iron through our period blood. So eating zinc and iron rich foods. So like grass-fed meat, if you can do it, dark chocolate. I love cacao. Doing like sea veggies, kelp noodles, nori, things like that, pumpkin seeds. And then once you get into the follicular phase, your resting cortisol, so your cortisol stress hormone levels at rest are lower. So you're actually more resilient to stress. And your metabolism.
We feel that like the week after your period is like,
right? I feel like a superhuman.
You're like coming out of the period cave and you're just like,
I'm normal.
Ready to party. Like you're ready to try new things. Like a lot of people feel just like a little bit frisky. Mm-hmm. And so you can, so you're more resilient. So you can actually handle a little bit more caffeine. Like if you do caffeine, like you're going to do so much better with it during this phase. I don't drink coffee, but I can do more matcha, for example, during this phase. You can handle a little less sleep. I'm not saying don't sleep, but you tend to bounce back a little bit faster. You might be able to have a bit more sugar. Maybe you can have a few glasses of wine and it doesn't impact you as much, but your metabolism is slightly slower, which is in correlation with what your temperature is doing and your different hormones. So this can be a period of time where if you're not careful, you can put on weight a little bit more easily. And so That's why going for more light, vibrant foods, really focusing on blood sugar balance. Like you might even find that you're more geared towards like smoothies and salads during this time, and like you're just not as hungry. So not saying restrict, but it can be a good time to just kind of do, maybe if you're doing like a little cleanse or a detox or something like that. But always with the Sexy 6. And then you can also handle some more exercise. So it's a good time for more cardio, a little bit more HIIT training. You can lift a little bit heavier, but just be mindful of that. Don't overdo it. The ovulatory phase is when your estrogen peaks, your testosterone peaks, and your metabolism is still slightly slower. So ovulatory phase is when energy is at the top. If you're not feeling that way, that means that you are likely struggling with a hormonal imbalance. I would suggest getting your hormones tested. We do that with my family business, Your Hormone Balance, to get to the root. Because if you're not feeling the way I'm describing, there's something going on underneath. Like if you're not getting more energy levels, if your sex drive isn't increasing as you go into the late follicular to ovulatory phases, like those are all signs from the body that something's off, because your body in its wisdom increases testosterone like 6 days before ovulation to get you in the mood to maybe have a child, or at least try. And so ovulatory phase, best for cardio, HIIT training. If you are lifting weights, which I do all month long, I think it's the best form of exercise for hormones and women in general, weightlifting with actually not very much HIIT training. If you are doing that, be mindful, because the increase in estrogen actually can cause more injuries, because your skin is you're less elastic. There's less joint mobility. So you want to do a lot of mobility work and stretching. And then once you get into the luteal phase, that's when, if you've ovulated, we produce progesterone, and progesterone actually increases your temperature. And when that happens, your metabolism increases, but your resting cortisol levels are lower. So you're higher. So you're less resilient to stress. So during this time, especially the week before your period, you're going to be so much more sensitive to things like caffeine, to sugar, to alcohol, to just stressors in your life, to inflammatory foods, to too much exercise. Like especially the week before your period, I would just completely cut out any type of HIIT training. I would focus on restorative movement, strength training, just relaxing the body. But because your metabolism has sped up, you need more calories. Most women need on average about 300 more calories during this time. And if you don't, it can actually backfire and more inflammation, worse PMS. You can actually start to put on weight. You won't see as great of results from your workouts. So this is a great time to add in just an extra snack, add in some more of those nutrient-rich carbohydrates. Our body craves chocolate during this time because that can be a sign that you need magnesium, and cacao is one of the richest sources of magnesium in the world. So allow yourself to have some dark chocolate. It's actually going to be really good for you. And yeah, I mean, that's like the cliff notes, but those are some of the main ones.
We could go so deep on this. Jess, you are incredible. If you want to learn more, and because we did just hit the tip of the iceberg here, please visit Jess's website, Body Bliss by Jess. She has amazing tools there. She has her lattes, which are incredible. She shares so much knowledge on her Instagram, which is Body Bliss by Jess. And she also is available for hire for her private clients, which we love. So please check her out. Body Bliss by Jess. We could have talked about this for 100 years, and I feel like we just hit the tip of the iceberg, but yeah, 2023, taking care of yourself. It's the new thing.
Yes,
new thing.
Totally
Thank
agree.
you so much for being here. And we weren't here for a long time, but
We were here for a good time.
For a good time.
Thanks for listening. The Lady Gang is produced by Alex Ingber, Steve Delameter, and Jared Monaco. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. And if you love it, share it with your friends on social media. Like, oh my God, I just listened to Lady Gang. This episode's so great. Swipe up to listen. And if you really want to, which we know you do, please follow us on social. At Kelty, at Becca, at Jack Vanek, and at The Lady Gang. Sign up for our newsletter at theladygang.com and join our secret Facebook group. It's super fun. See you next Tuesday.